All right, what's up? What's up? We're in the house, y'all. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about business planning. We're doing a business planning clinic. This is what I've been wanting to do for you guys for a long time, and that's what we're doing. So I've got everything is up and running. You'll notice there's a slightly different format. And I see a couple of you guys are already jumping on, so I appreciate that. So I'm using a different software today that's actually allowing me to display my screen. And so here I am. Hey, we're going to be playing around with this for a little bit today, having lots and lots of fun. And I want to hear what you guys think about this new format. So remember last time we talked about this whole idea of should we use Zoom? Should we use Facebook or Workplace Live? Should we try this or that? So I'm using this kind of a hybrid thing, which allows me to broadcast right here to you guys. And we're testing it out. We're going to see how it works. And I am super duper excited. Is anybody excited? Are y'all excited today? I am, because it's about a week till Christmas. And I always get excited around this time. It's just, there's a different kind of energy that's going on at this time of the year. So at this time of the year, we all want to talk about setting goals, manifesting our goals, goals for the new year and all that. So that's the reason why, Mina asked me to put this presentation together, which I was happy to do, all about planning. Business planning. And I know business planning is like, it can be like super duper no fun, right? But we're going to actually have fun with it. So yeah, hey, what's up? Okay, so I'm looking at the comments. Anthony is ready. Woo! I see those likes coming in. All right. So just for you guys, I've been playing around with this whole new format where I can actually switch back and forth, as you can see right here. I can switch over to a slide when the time is appropriate, so it's quite interesting. So let's get right into the presentation, though. We're talking about how to triple your business in 2020. Who wants to triple their business? Show me some love. Show me some hearts. Show me some thumbs up if you want to triple your business in 2020 without having to work harder or spend more money. I mean, that's the thing, guys, when it comes to this whole concept of achieving your goals, achieving your highest goals. A lot of times what people think erroneously, they believe that in order to achieve their goals, they have to work harder. And it is not true. If anything, I can get over into you guys or drill into you, it's that concept. Let me adjust my camera here. I think I like this a little better. Yeah, let me set this. I'm playing with my equipment, y'all. Hey, what's up? Oh, that's better. I like that better. So don't believe the hype that you've got to work a lot harder. And you've heard it. Don't work harder, work smarter. What exactly does that mean? It is true, but what does it mean? That's what we're going to talk about today. How to triple your business in 2020 without having to work harder or having to spend more money. This is part of a series that I like to teach and train on, which I call Millionaire Success Secrets. Millionaire Success Secrets. It's the kind of stuff that you won't learn. Well, you can learn some of this stuff in other places, but I have not found a place where all this information is amalgamated into one place. And that's what I want for you guys. Every single one of you listening to me right now has the power to be a millionaire if that's what you choose to be. I like to live in what Tim Ferriss calls the new rich. Okay, there's the old rich. That's the way they used to do it. But now we're talking about the new rich, baby. The new rich is the individual, that woman, that man that can travel anywhere they want to go. They work remotely, okay, so they work from their laptop. They've created an environment and a lifestyle where they can work from anywhere in the world. And yes, you can do that in real estate. I've done it for years, okay? You can work from anywhere in the world. Now, you've got to work through leverage. We'll talk about that. You can go anywhere you want to go. You can do anything you want to do. You're the master of your destiny, okay? And you're not confined by time, okay? You're not strapped to your cell phone. You're not strapped to your computer or whatever else. You're able to basically, it's basically what we call the new rich, and you don't have to be a millionaire, by the way, to be one of the new rich. That's the cool thing about that. So this is our business planning clinic 2020 that especially put together for Mina Slaughter. All right, Mina. So this is very interesting. This is a picture of me when I was 18 years old, and you can't really see it, but if you were to look at that book on the shelf above my head, nowadays I've got tons and tons of books, but I even liked reading back then. You know, this is an 18-year-old Knolly Williams, and notice I've got a book in my hand and a book over my head. Okay, at 18 years old, that just kind of tells you the kind of nerd that I was. That is, once I embraced my nerdiness, okay, because for a long time I tried to deny my nerdiness, and I tried to be the cool kid. Oh, I'm not a nerd, I'm cool. So I got into a lot of trouble trying to be the cool kid. But when I embraced the fact that I am a nerd, and I got into the real me, that's what you'd see. You'd see a book in my hand and typically a book over my head. But if you read the title of that book, it's called Manage More While Doing Less. Let me say it again. It's called Manage More While Doing Less. Now that's 31 years ago that this picture was taken, okay, of me working in the office. I was a manager. It's not to say much, guys. I was the manager of my uncle's company. So, you know, I didn't really earn the position, but I worked hard, and I love to read and gather information. Now, when I was this age, at this picture that you see here, that's when I learned to set goals. At this age, I learned to set goals. Okay, people ask me, how was I able to buy my first house when I was 26? And it was a 7-bedroom mansion, mini mansion, a 6,000 square foot home. How was I able to buy that when I was 26 years old? How was I able to get married when I was 22? Okay, had just turned 22 years old when I got married. So it was only 4 years after that picture was taken that I actually got married. How was I able to pay off my house at 45 years old? How was I able to list over 1,000 houses my first 10 years in the real estate business? Well, it all started with this kid right here learning how to set and take goals, to set goals and reach goals. And I teach about this in my book, Success with Listings. Okay. Now, if you go to chapter 3 in this book, I tell you it's called Setting and Reaching Your Goals. That's the title of that chapter. And I talk in here about how I started with setting goals, how my uncle sat me down. And here's specifically what he did. See if I can find it here. What he actually had me to do is set these categories. And there's actually 4 categories that he did. I have a few more categories now, but he had me to do spiritual goals, personal goals, career goals, and material goals. If you've got my book, and don't tell me you don't have it if you don't have it. You should have Success with Listings. You can download the PDF of it if you don't have it. Just go to successwithlistings.com or knolly.com, either one, and you'll find links to. You can download the PDF of this. But on page 47, it talks about how my Uncle Miles sat me down with notebook paper and had me to write my goals. Look, when you put it down on paper, every single goal that I have, even I've got goals for each day. Like these are the goals that I had for yesterday. Okay, and I know they're kind of. It's hard to read that here where you are because the light is kind of heavy. But these are my goals from yesterday. So I wanted to set up a presentation for the Business Planning Clinic. That's the presentation we're doing right now. I wanted to set up OBS. That's the software that I'm currently using, which I just set up yesterday and learned so that I could use it today. I want to launch my coaching company, which we just launched yesterday, and we've got a series of emails going out for that launch. I wanted to do, I'm working on a friend of mine, I'm working on his funnel. So I wanted to complete that project, did that, checked it off. And there's a couple other things here. So trust me, you've got to write it down. Okay, you've got to write it down. If you were to look in the room that I'm in now, I've got goals are scattered all over the walls. That's the reason why in my personal spaces, I cover the walls with whiteboards so that I can write everywhere. I'm just like a kid. I like to write on walls, y'all. So what I wrote down was spiritual goals, material goals, personal goals, and career goals. Okay, because if you don't know where you're going, any road will lead you there. Okay, that's the reason why we have goals. So go back and read chapter 3 of Success with Listings to polish you up on that. So here I was, 18 years old, and I'm writing down all my goals. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. Now, do you know that by the age of 25, I had accomplished every single goal that I had set at the age of 18? Okay, I had some long-term goals. I had some one. By the way, I set my goals every year, but I did them. Back then I would do 1 year goals, 3 year goals, 5 year goals, 10 year goals, etc. Okay, so let's move on to the presentation here. So here's when you're looking at setting your goals for 2020. Here's what you want to think about: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay, who, what, when, where, why, and how. So the who is you. Okay, and you're going to want to write this down on paper so that you can work this out. If you're not at a safe place where you can write this on paper right now, wait till you get to a safe place and do this. Go back and watch this video. So the who is you. The what is your goal. Okay, the when is this year. Why wait? The where is a specialization. Okay. The why is that's your big why. What are you doing this for? What's your big purpose? And the how is going to be through leads and appointments. Okay, I don't know any other way. It's going to be through leads and appointments. If you own any kind of business whatsoever, you're going to your how is going to be through leads and appointments. Okay. Now, what I always tell people, I was talking to a guy just the other day, and he said it's all about the how. It's all about the how. Nothing else matters. Well, I happen to be, from a personality profile standpoint, I'm an engineer. So I understand when somebody tells me it's all about the how, because that is absolutely all I care about is the how. But I got to let you in on a little secret here. The how doesn't matter. Woo! The how doesn't matter. Okay, what I have actually built my whole life on is the how. And in fact, when you read books like Success with Listings, this is a how-to book. How to, it's step by step. Okay, that's how I think. I think in a linear fashion. But the universe doesn't work linearly. Okay, the universe does not work in a linear fashion. I guarantee you. But here's the cool thing about this. It doesn't matter. All you got to do is know what you want. Okay. Can you imagine walking into a restaurant and the waiter comes over and says, "What do you have? Do you know what you want?" You've got the menu in front of you. You're looking at all the options and choices, and you look up and say, "Just bring me some food." He's like, "Okay, but we have a lot of different options. What do you want?" Okay. That is the way the universe works. You have to be specific in knowing what it is that you want. Okay. Those of you that have already gone through Your Wish is Your Command, shame on you if you haven't. One of the most powerful trainings of the century. Your Wish is Your Command. Right there in your Mentorship Masters portal. You can download and consume that content. You have to understand, even Jesus says, you've got to let your needs be known. Okay. He says, if you come to him and you ask and you don't doubt, you will have whatever you ask for. You will have whatever you ask for. People, I used to say it all the time. Man, God, you know what I want. Why I got to tell you? That's the little kid, right? It's like, why do I have to tell you what I want when you know everything already? What's the point? Okay. Let me share this with you. You can't do it your way. Okay. You can't do it your way. Scripture says we have to ask and it is given. Okay. Seek and you will find. You have to ask and then you will receive. Okay. So don't just go around, that's just rebellion. Well, I'm not going to ask because God knows anyway. God says ask and be specific with what it is that you want. So again, the who is you, the what is your goal, the when is right now, the where is a specialization. Now I haven't really talked to you guys much about this, but your specialization is your niche. You guys already know I preach it. You've got a niche to get rich. Okay, you've got a niche to get rich. The reason I haven't taught so much on niching this year, even though we have taught quite a bit on it, but not as much as I'd like to, is because most of you guys haven't got off second base. Okay, first base is your sphere of influence. Second base, farm. Okay, now third base is your niche. Okay, you got a niche to get rich. That's where you can slide into home plate. From when you're on third base, it's easy to steal and get into home. It's easy, and home is the goal. Okay, but first base is your sphere of influence. Many of you haven't even got to first base yet, right? Now, those of you who have, high five. That's the ones I'm talking to right now, because your specialization is how you're going to succeed at this. Okay, if you try to skip bases, guess what? You're going to be caught out. Have you ever seen a person go from first base trying to run to third base? It don't work that way. That's not how the game is played. You're automatically out. You're done. Okay? So stop trying to skip bases. You need to follow the formula that Uncle Knolly has laid out for you. And stop being lazy about following it. Look, I speak to myself. Even me, I'm lazy about my greatness. I know I'm great. I'm not good. I'm great. Okay. But I can be greater, so we have to continue on that trajectory. You got to have a big why or none of this will even matter. And I'll tell you the biggest why. And Gary Keller used to talk about this all the time, and I would discredit it because I didn't think it was, I would poo-poo on it. He would talk all the time about your big why is to be your very best. To be your ultimate greatness, to be all that you can be. And I was like, man, that's a dumb big why. I want to make $1 million. So when I made the million, it was like, okay, now I want two. Then when I made 2 million, you see, it's just a never ending. Okay. But to be your ultimate greatness, that is a never ending goal. That is never ending goal. That is, for me, it's worthwhile. Because in this lifetime, I'll be taking my last breath and working on becoming the highest version of God, that the version of God that God sees. Okay, that's what I want to be. I want to be the version of me that God sees. That's a better way to put it. The version of me that God sees. Okay, and I want to melt into God to where when people see me, that's all they see is God, right? Because I am in Him and He is in me. Now look at this. How? Is through leads and appointments. Okay, you've got to generate leads, and if you don't know how to do that, that's why I wrote this book right here called Triple My Listings. If you don't have it, go to triplemylistings.com. Okay, guys, don't I make it easy? I like to push the easy button. I don't like hard. Hard is no fun for me. I do not like hard. So Triple My Listings. This is a book where all you've got to do is follow there's 27 marketing ideas, but only do the ones that resonate with you. Okay, let me say it again. You don't have to do them all. I was listening to a guy last night, good guy that I highly respect, and he said, and he was making a statement that unless you're on the phones, you're not making money. I don't agree. I don't like being on the phone. I very rarely am on the phone. But for those of you that are high D personality profile, guess what? You need to be on the phone. That's where and you're going to feel comfortable on the phone. I don't. Okay. So I feel comfortable on camera. Riddle me that, right? I feel comfortable on stage, but I don't like talking on the phone that often if I can get away with not doing it. So The reason why I wrote this is so you'll know what to do when you do your 2 hours of lead generation every single day from 9 to 11, and that you'll resonate with the ones that click with you. So when you go into this, you're like, okay, idea number 9, create a Facebook community. No, I don't like that one. Don't do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Look, this is like a buffet. I'm spreading it out. You go and get what you want. Nobody put that on your plate. You serve what you want, okay? If you don't like any of these 27 ideas, I can't help you, because these are the ideas that helped me take over 1,000 listings my first 10 years and helped me to pay off my house when I was 45 years old. I live in a house that's paid off, okay? And I got to tell you, Knolly, are you bragging on it? Yeah, I'm bragging on that. That's what I want for every single one of you guys, okay? And how are you going to get there? You got to follow the system, guys. Follow the steps. Look, it's super easy, not hard at all. Okay, so let's talk about your goal setting action plan for 2020. Your goal setting action plan for 2020, and I'm gonna see if you guys. I'm actually gonna look before we do that. I'm gonna look and see, because now I like this new system. Y'all think it's snazzy? Is it pretty good? Let me know. Let me show Uncle Knolly some love. Let me know what you think. So. I'm reading you guys' comments. Anthony Chambers says, yeah, he's watching. He's in the house. David Speedy's very excited. Charles Lee says, yes. Sonia is like, yeah, let's go. Lucas, I see Lucas is in the house. Darren Keith Jones is watching. Man, a lot of y'all in here. Marcia Payne is on. Let's see. If you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and put them here in the chat as well. What I'm doing now is I'm checking the chat on my phone, because actually the system that I'm using doesn't actually allow me to see the chat box up there. So Patty Lynn is in the house. That's good. Always love to have Patty Lynn here. Let me see. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So if you guys have any questions, put them there in the chat, and then I'll answer those. So this is your goal setting action plan for 2020. Now, there's 7 steps. Okay, write that down. 7 steps to getting where you want to be. Okay, I got to show you guys this. I'm always trying to inspire you guys. So today it's fresh squeezed apple juice. Can you believe that? 32 ounces of apple juice. Ooh, this is good stuff. And what my wife and I do is we put bee pollen in here. So I have to shake it up pretty good so that bee pollen will mix in there. Bee pollen's really good for you too. When I was in my younger days, when I wasn't as healthy, I'm healthier now. I'm 49 years old. I'm almost going to be 50 in a few months. Ooh, I look forward to it. Actually, less than 2 months. February 15th is my birthday, and you guys should have my mailing address. Just kidding. Y'all know I don't need nothing. Uncle Knolly don't need nothing. I got everything I want. What I really want for my birthday is for you guys to be successful. That would be, I would want you to reach your highest heights, or at least be on the road to reaching your highest goals. That would be the best birthday present ever for me. By the way, I just got a new car. I got that Mercedes-Benz S550. And I'm telling you, boy, that thing is like, it rides like a dream, y'all. Yeah, I don't talk much about the cars I drive and all that. But I got to tell you, that car right there, it is nice. It is really nice. So anyway, I wanted to tell you a funny story. Back when I was younger, I was about 20, not really a funny story, but I ended up in the hospital behind bee pollen. So I was about 28 years old. No, maybe I was younger than that. Maybe I was 27. And we had just built an office building on our property, and we were in the process of moving into the office building. And I had allergies real bad back then. I mean, bad allergies. From the time I was a kid, like 13 years old, we called it hay fever. And so we were moving in to the office, and I had a bad allergy attack. And so I knew that if you take bee pollen, it helps with allergies. But the truth is, it doesn't help right away. It builds up your, what it does is it takes all the pollen that your immune to, and it puts it into your system. So in time, you basically don't have the immunities to the environment. And so I was desperate. So I went into the kitchen, and my wife had a big jar of bee pollen in the refrigerator. And so, because you got to keep it refrigerated to keep it fresh. And so I took a big old tablespoon and back then I would take about 4 or 5 or 6 granules, not even a quarter teaspoon. But I was like, I'm desperate. So I took a tablespoon, and within 20 minutes I could not breathe. Okay, I had to be rushed to the emergency hospital, and they had to inject me with, I don't know what they gave me, but it helped. It helped. So be careful with the bee pollen. I'm not trying to scare you. Just don't overdo it if you're not used to taking it. By the way, sometimes as I'm thinking about that story, sometimes we let our past dictate our future. And so for years after that episode, because I almost died, I could not breathe. My esophagus swelled up and I couldn't get air. Sometimes we let our past dictate our future. And I was at a seminar with my buddy Artemis. This was about maybe a year and a half ago. And he was making smoothies for us because we travel that way. We try to keep the same regimen when I travel of eating healthy. And so he was making smoothies, and he put a big old, like a tablespoon of bee pollen, it was about a tablespoon, in my smoothie. And I was like, dude, I can't drink that. He was like, what do you mean? I said, I'm allergic to bee pollen. Like, I can do a little bit, but I can't drink a lot. So I told him the story I just told you guys about what happened to me behind bee pollen. And he said, Knolly, dude, you're so clear, because I'd already been working with Artemis for a couple of years at that point. He was like, your system is so clean that you can take this bee pollen and you'll have no effect. I was like, dude, I'm not trying to go to the hospital. I want to catch this seminar. So anyway, I drank the smoothie and I was fine. Okay, I was absolutely fine. So I no longer even have that issue because of the regimen that my body's been under the last several years. So anyway, don't let your past dictate your future. That's the moral of that story. So the 7 steps to getting where you want to be. Hopefully you have a pen out, and these are the 7 steps. Number 1, you've got to set the goal. Okay, start with your big why. And that goes without saying, but I'll tell you, there's so many of you, if I was to ask you right now to email me your goals, you don't even have them. They're somewhere in your head, and that's not where goals should live. They should live on paper in front of you. Okay. Let me show you guys something since I'm saying that. Hold on a minute. So this is, let me put this up here so you guys can see it. So this is something I did in a clinic that I recently went to. And this is basically my goal for the first quarter of 2020. Okay, this is just first quarter. So what I'm going to be teaching you guys later on, not here, but later on, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to actually set your goals quarterly. Okay, we're going to learn that through Quantum 10X coaching. That's what I'm going to be teaching there. So instead of actually doing an annual goal, it's going to be much more, and instead of doing monthly goals, it's going to be much more effective for you guys to have a quarterly goal. And the quarterly goal is basically, it's all based on this book right here. By the way, I'm reading some amazing books right now, but this one's called The 12-Week Year, and there's a whole philosophy and principle in this book that is outlined here, but we won't get into that today because that's too much material. So number 1, set the goal. Number 2, mindset. Okay, be willing to do whatever it takes. Okay, be willing to do whatever it takes. Mindset. By the way, being willing to do whatever it takes is part of a book. That's a great book. Let me see if I have it here handy. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have that book handy, guys. Where is it? Anyway, the book is one of those books by Mike Hernacki. It's called The Ultimate Secret to Getting Absolutely Everything You Want. Okay? The Ultimate Secret to Getting Absolutely Everything You Want. That's a book by Mike Hernacki. If you don't understand this whole concept of being willing to do whatever it takes. Focus, that's your specialty. Okay, I want you guys this year coming up to start to be thinking about a specific specificity, a specialty that you're going to be focused on and that you're going to be known for in your area. Okay, training and consulting and coaching. Okay, now let me explain that. So training, what's the difference between training and coaching? Okay, so training is from without and coaching is from within. So a lot of times when you have a coach, you'll have a coach that's telling you things like, okay, Mina, what I want you to do is think about this. Now, what comes to mind? And then they have you think about something, go through an exercise, and you're like this. Now, Mina, what specific things can you be doing to resolve that issue? So it's almost like a therapy session, if you will, okay? So they're really just bringing from within you what's already there. They're bringing it out of you, okay? But there are some things that you just don't have within you. Like, it's like, dude, like if I was to sit down with some of you guys and like, okay, you want to do 40 deals this year. How are you going to do it? You're like, I don't know. Okay, well, what do you got in mind? So there's some training that you need, right? So it's not all just, not everything is within you. You've got to have training. And that's the reason why my personal teaching style is a combination of teaching, consulting, and coaching. I'd probably do more teaching and consulting than I do coaching because I'm not assuming that you know how to do this. I'm actually telling you how to do it. In many ways, I believe it's an easier path for you because you don't have to think. Let me say it again. What I've eliminated from you guys is the necessity to think. All you've got to do is just do what I tell you to do and you'll have the successful results. Now, execution is the specific steps to follow in the plan. Okay. Identity, that's branding and perception. And personal finances. I want you to dominate in this area. I want you to be debt free, or this or the lack will dictate your choices. Okay. So write those down. Number 1, you got to set the goal. Number 2, you got to get your mind right. Number 3, you've got to have the right focus. Number 4, training, you've got to have it. 5, execution. 6, your identity. Who are you? Who are you becoming? And then 7, personal finances. Okay. This is how you're going to absolutely reach your goals. And don't forget that we teach the 8 pillars here. The 8 pillars, it starts with mindset, then it's activities, people, systems, tools, money, accountability, okay, and training. So the 8 pillars are still rocking. You've got 4 bodies, you know that, and then you're gonna follow these 7 steps to getting where you want to be. Okay. Now there are only 2 paths to success. There's only 2 paths to success, and you've got to pick one, guys. Okay. Now there's 2 paths. One's called flow, and the other one's called the grind. Now let's look at it. With flow, you can make $250,000 a year. That's good. Be debt free. That's great. Working 20 to 30 hours a week. Awesome. Nights and weekends off. 4 to 5 vacations a year. I love it. That's what I want. That's what you guys have told me you want. That's what I teach around. Now the grind, you can still make $250,000 a year. No problem. But will you be debt free? It's questionable. Working 80 hours or more a week. Working most nights and weekends with no vacations. So you can be in flow or you can be on the grind. Which do you choose? Okay, it's a choice. You could be easy. See, rivers, when rivers flow, they flow downstream, not upstream. They just flow downstream, right? And they just flow. And that's exactly how, if you look at nature, most of nature flows, particularly before the fall of man. All of nature was in flow. Okay. Now we're a little bit in flux and somewhat in grind in some areas. But for the most part, nature is in flow. So those are your 2 options. Now let's look at these goals real closely. And at this point, what I want to do is I want to kind of show you guys a visual. This might be hard to see because your screen, which you're looking at, might be small. But I'll kind of call this out for you. So what does it look like if you're wanting to generate $60,000, in 2020, what does that look like? By the way, when it is very, 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 and I'm going to capitalize very, I'm going to underscore, underline, and I'm going to circle the word very, difficult for me to think in small numbers, okay? Because I've trained my mind to think bigger. Now, there are a number of people that think a lot bigger than me. And there's some thoughts that I don't even bring to you guys because they'll be immediately rejected by your subconscious mind. In fact, much of what I teach you guys is immediately rejected by your subconscious mind. And I know that because for those of you that are not implementing what I teach, I know that it's because your subconscious mind has rejected that training. So the whole concept of, I'll tell this story to give you an idea around it. I was at Mod Pizza, which is a pizza joint that we have here. I don't know if any you guys have Mod Pizza. It's pretty good pizza actually. So I was at Mod Pizza. I was hanging out. I was on the patio, and I was having. A lot of you guys think I only eat fruit, but the truth is I eat whatever I want to eat. It just so happens that probably 80% of the time, probably 85%, it's going to be fresh fruit is what I eat. But other than that, I eat whatever I want. So I was at Mod. I told the guy, I said, I want gluten-free crust. And they got this big old crust that's a cauliflower crust. Pretty good. I like it. And I said, I want the vegan cheese. I don't want none of that cow cheese. I want vegan cheese. So he came and they put all the veggies and everything like that. He put the vegan cheese on there. I said, now put some bacon on that. He said, what? I said, look, I'm about 95% vegan. The vegans don't even accept me. So I mix it up sometimes. So I'm there. I'm enjoying my vegan pizza with bacon on it. And I'm on the patio. And I went in to grab a beer. Because, I like to drink beer too. Some of y'all don't know that. You get to hanging around me. You see, I don't drink it that often. But I like craft beer. It's got to be good. It's got to be draft, generally. It's got to be good quality. I'm a beer snob. But every now and then I have me a good glass of beer. So I was going in to get a beer, and this guy stops me. He said, Knolly. I said, and I looked at him. I didn't recognize him. He said, man, we were in school together. I was like, school? What school did I go? Y'all know I don't really like to go to school. So what school was I at with this guy? He said, yeah, we were in real estate school together. I was like, what? I said, oh, so then I recognized him. Named George. I won't say his last name. I don't want to embarrass him, but George. He said, man, we were in class together. We got our license at the same time. I was like, man, that's cool, dude. He said, yeah, but he said, man, I've never had a year where I've made less than $60,000. I said, $60,000? I didn't even make that my first year. My first year, I was pushing close to six figures. I know by my second year, I was over 200,000. And then after that, I never had a year under 400. Okay. I just don't know what that looks like. I don't even know that's a whole nother story. Back when I was in the music industry days, I couldn't even figure out, now this is crazy, but I could not figure out how do you run a business on $30,000 a month. I just couldn't figure out how to do that because we were so used to making $150,000 a month. And I got to tell you guys, when you get used to making money, it feels good. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? A lot of people think Jesus was broke. Wrong. Jesus owns everything. He created the world. So he wasn't broke, by the way. He just didn't attach meaning to the things that we attach meaning to. Money's good for the good it can do. That's it. But it feels good to be able to pay your bills on time, to not have anybody. I've had a bank take my home from me. Okay, I've had that happen. I've been foreclosed on. I've filed bankruptcy, so I know what that feels like. And but it feels good on the other side too, right? So I'm here as a testament. So he had never made over $60,000, and I was like, man, that is bizarre. That I didn't even think that was possible. That we were in real estate for the same number of years. We got our license in 2003, both of us, and here it was 15 years later. He never made 60 grand. So this is a plan that shows you how to make 60,000. Okay. Now, I don't want you making 60,000. I'd like you to make a lot more, but I'm not gonna project onto you my personal goals. Okay, your goal is none of my business. I mean, it is my business because I want you to reach your goal. But the point is, your goal is your goal. If you tell me, Knolly, man, I want to make 30,000 a year, I'm high-fiving you. I can't understand it, right? A lot of people don't understand what I do. They like, man, this dude eating fruit all the time. This fruity guy. They don't understand that. That's cool. I'm not trying to push what I am on anybody else, and by the same token. So you guys get that. There's no judgment in this. So in order to net 60,000, you've got to have gross commission income of 76,000. Okay, your cap will be paid. That's going to be 16,000 that goes to your cap, and that's with an average sale price of 300,000, and with an average commission from that 300,000 of 9,000. Okay, and some of you guys are like, but my average sale price isn't 300,000. Well, that's your problem. Get your average sale price up. Okay, some of you guys have an average sale price that's way higher than 300,000, and that's good. Nobody's telling you what your average sale price needs to be. You dictate that. Don't put that on nobody else. So in order to do that economic goal, you have to take 9 listings a year, and that means you have to take about 0.8 listings a month. Okay, that's your monthly goal. Your annual closings will be 8, and this is all based on when you look at it, your monthly listing close will be 0.7. I mean, these numbers are kind of crazy, but that's just how they fare it out. So that's with a conversion rate of 80% on your appointments and 90% on your closings. What that means is that 80% of the time when you go on a listing appointment, you get the listing. That's 8 out of 10. And if you're using the tools that I give you, you should have no problem getting at least 80%. Okay, and then 90% of, and that's saying that 90% of the houses that you actually list will close. Okay, so I'm going to go through the others that I've done, and then I'm going to take questions from you guys. Okay, I'm going to leave some time for questions. So this here, you may not have noticed, but there's a transition to this one, and this is if you want to net 100,000 a year. 100,000 a year. So if you want to net 100,000 a year, you're going to gross 116. You're going to pay a $16,000 cap, and then you're going to that's where you'll be able to do 100 grand. Now you're going to that means that you'll have to take 14 listings, okay, and then your monthly listings will be 1.2, and your listings close will be 13. So that's with you closing 13 deals, okay, 13 listings. By the way, I only can think in listings. I cannot think in buyers because I just don't think that way. So whenever I present this material, it's always going to be for listings. For me, if I have a buyer, that's gravy. That's just icing on the cake, but it ain't my cake. You know what I mean? So some of you guys like to work buyers, then you can reconfigure these numbers however you want. I'm just sharing with you. That's just kind of the way I do it. So that's with you. That's with you at 100,000. Now, if you look at this at 100,000 net commission, that means you've got to take 14 listings. I mean, I laugh because, guys, 14 listings was what I would do in a month. I've had weeks where I took over 20 listings in 1 week. I had 1 week. It only happened once. It was a good week. I took 21 listings in 1 week. Okay, only time it ever happened, but it did happen. But 14 listings for me would be, and by the way, I'm going to share with you how I did it. 14 listings for me, that's just like if you're doing 14 listings a year. I mean, I can't even think in that low. If I was to do 14 listings a year, I would probably be working 3 hours a week in real estate to do that volume. 3 hours a week. I guarantee you I wouldn't be working more than 3 hours a week to do 14 deals. There's just no way. I mean, I've capped this year. I work 3 hours a week in real estate right now today. Okay. And my production is so far, it's been higher than most of the mentorship masters, probably 90% of you guys. And I don't know what you guys are doing with your time, but I can tell you, for me, I'm only working about 3 hours a week in real estate. I was negotiating an offer this morning on one of my listings. Put a listing up last week, but I mean, if you add it all up, y'all know I don't work a lot in real estate. If I was, I'd be hitting my 14 deals a month, not 14 deals in a year. You see what I'm saying? And I only say that not to shame you, but to just show you that what you're trying to do is completely, it's so easy, especially with me holding your hand and showing you how to do it. The only way that you can't succeed is just you don't do the work, okay? And if you're not doing the work, then that is a mental issue. You say, what you talking about? You trying to tell me I got mental problems? Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you're not doing the work, you got a mental problem, okay? Because mindset is 90% of success. And if you won't even get off your duff and go do the work, then we got a real mental problem there. I could say it's a mental case, okay? I can say that because my mom was a psychologist, and that's what she had. She had cases, It turns out I was one of her cases, by the way. Y'all know I'm a mental case. Okay, so then I was looking to see what y'all have for me. Let me get back to the last and final one that I want to do, and that's for those of you that want to make $250,000 or more a year. And for me, honestly, $250,000 would be a starting point, but I'm not gonna put that on you. You reach whatever goal you want. But if you have a goal of like say 60,000 or 100,000, just work 10 hours a week. Okay. Oh, I promised you I would tell you how I did it. So, man, this is so much fun. This is so. I can't show you the email because that might be a little too tricky. But I ran across an email. Let me see if I have it. Let me see if I have it on my phone. I'll find it real quick. Boy, this is so much fun. I got to tell you guys, I actually have a reminder. This is God's honest truth. I have a reminder that hits every single. That reminder comes out about every 5 days. Okay, I have a reminder that reminds me to not get back into full-time real estate. Okay, this is God's honest truth. About every 5 days, I have a reminder that reminds me to not get back in the real estate game. Because I used to have so much fun in real estate, guys. Tearing it up. I'm talking about fun. I love real estate because it's so easy. It's like, to me, it's like taking candy from a baby. And I know it's that way for you guys too when you get out there and have fun with it. So here's an email that I used to send out to my clients, and boy, I get giddy when I think about it. So here's what it says. It says, "Hi Srini. By the way, you guys know that almost everything that I do, I have templates. It's just copy paste. So I send stuff out like this. So this is a guy named Srini whose house I listed. It says, "Hi Srini. It was great getting to meet you yesterday. Thanks so much for your time. I am very confident that we will exceed your expectations as we help you both achieve your goals. I take your commitment and trust in me very seriously, and we will not disappoint you." Now, this is after I went on a listing appointment. I would send this email out to my client. "You have a beautiful home, and I am confident we will get it sold. Barbara will be assisting me with your property, and she will send you copies of the listing docs. Also, Nirav Patel is the team listing manager assigned to your file." Listen to that. He's the team listing manager assigned to your file. He will be contacting you with any questions. And then his info is, and I put his name, his title, listing manager, his email address, and his phone number. "Thanks again, Knolly. And then, P.S. I will be working diligently behind the scenes doing what I do best, marketing to get the house sold." Okay, that was the email that I would send out. Now, the reason why I got so excited when I saw this the other day in my bag of templates, because I have a whole bunch of those, is I remember how I used to run my real estate practice. I had two listing managers, okay? I had one that worked south part of town, one that worked the north part of town. I would go, Barbara would set up the listing appointment for me, okay? She was my listing, like listing manager, or listing, kind of like an operations manager, but not quite. She was really my assistant, but she would set up the listing appointment, and then I would do like one little introductory call to the client before I went out. It was like 10 minutes because I had all the information. I had a folder. I would just grab my folder with all the information, tucked together. And then I would go to the listing appointment, typically by myself. Sometimes I would take one of my listing managers with me. I would do the listing appointment, take me about an hour. Sometimes it'd take an hour and a half. I didn't care because that's all I did was listing appointments. Okay. There was only two things. Let me say this because I think this is important for you guys. When you're setting your goals and thinking about what the future might look like, maybe not right away, but eventually, there was only two things that I did. I generated for new leads. Okay. We call it do the two. And I went on appointments. That's it. So in the morning, just picture this. In the morning, I get in the office, okay, mostly working from my home office. From 9 to 11, I'm doing my lead generation. Whatever that, would look like for you, that's what you would do. So 9 to 11. Then my listing appointments would be from about 1 to 3, okay? So really, I could check email or I could goof off or whatever I wanted to do from about 11 to 1. Then I would go on 1 to 2 listing appointments. Typically, I would have no more than about one listing appointment a day. Okay, and so I would have a 2-hour blocked out for my assistant knew that's when I could go on my appointments. So they would say, okay, Knolly can't do Tuesday, but he's available Wednesday or Thursday. Okay, and it would be from 1 to 3. That's when I would schedule, and so I could do easily 2 or 3 listings a week. And that would be my, 12 listings a month, for example. I could easily do that working a work day of about 4 hours. Okay. Now, remember, it wasn't every day that I was actually going out on listing appointments. So some days I would work 2 hours. Some days I'd work 4. Okay. Everything else, my team handled. Even going to closing. Okay, I didn't go to closings. Nirav, like I had Nirav for North, Leanne would do South, and they would basically any contract negotiations. If we got a contract on it, they would be. I didn't look after I did the listing appointment. I was done. Okay, so I was basically a performer, just kind of like what I do now, if you will. I would set up. I would generate the lead, spend 2 hours a day doing that. And then I would go, if I had a performance that afternoon, a listing appointment, I would go perform for an hour and a half. Sometimes we call it a dog and pony show. But I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was going to get the home sold. That's all they wanted. That's all the client wanted was their home sold. So that's what I would get. I would get results. And when I got results, I got referrals. So I'm telling you, if I'm doing 150 to 200 deals a year, I'm still only going to work 3 or 4 hours a day at the most. Okay, that's just how I do it. So now let's go to the last one, and that's for $250,000 a year. And by the way, if you look at the column to the very far right, you'll see that your split changes. Okay, because at EXP we have an 80-20 split, but the more money you make, the lower your split gets. Okay, let me say that again. The more money you make, the lower your split. So let me give you an example of that. Let's say, for example, I made a $600,000 in commissions this year. Okay, but I paid EXP $16,000. So I'm going to do $16,000 divided by $600,000, and that shows me that my actual commission, my split to EXP was less than 3%. Okay, so I actually earned 97%. Plus, if I do that kind of volume, I'm going to be an icon, and I'm going to get all that commission back in the form of stock. So I got to tell you, this is the first place I've ever been where I can make more than 100%. Now let's look at this. $250,000 to get that $250,000, you're going to have a gross commission income of $266. with the same the sale price. I think I bumped it up to $350 on this one, and then that would mean that you have to take 28 listings, and you have to you'll have your listings close would be 25. So you're basically you're closing 2 deals a month. Okay. Now, did you notice something there that the higher the list price, the more money you make? Have you noticed that? I remember when I listed my house because I had to get out of the home because I couldn't afford it anymore. I couldn't afford the mortgage payment. Jack McDonald was my realtor. He was at Remax, and Jack came out, listed my house. We sold it for $500,000, just roughly about $498, something like that. And I remember looking at the settlement statement. Here I am. When I sold the house, I was 33, and I looked at the settlement statement, and I paid $30,000 in commission. $30,000, and I'm looking at it plus a transaction fee. And I'm looking at it, I was like, man, $30,000. I need to get into real estate because I didn't know what I was going to do next anyway, right? So I kind of, that was a big booster for me. The fact I was like, you can make $30,000 selling one house. Sign me up. Let me put my skills to work in that. And I remember what Jack told me when I got into real estate. He's the one that got me in with Remax Austin Associates, where I started. He said, Knolly, I'm going to tell you this. I'm only going to tell you once. He said, the bigger the house, the more expensive, the bigger the paycheck, the same amount of work or less. Okay, I'm going to say it again. The bigger the house, the bigger the paycheck, the same amount of work or less. How many of you know that it takes less work to sell a house at $400,000 than a house that's $100,000? Raise your hand if you know that. Yeah, and the commission is quadruple on the 400, right? So bring up your game. Bring up your game, okay? So if you don't have Triple My Listings, you need it. Number one, you need it today. And you just go to triplemylistings.com. You pay the shipping. We send you a free copy of Triple My Listings. You absolutely need that book because that's the book that's going to tell you what to do when you're in your lead generation bunker. All right. So as usual, we've gotten, here we've been about an hour, and I did all the talking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look and see if you guys have any questions. Has this been good? Throw some hearts, throw some love at me if it's been good. Some thumbs up. Yeah, Patty Lynn says money is good for the good it can do. Christy says she'd rather be in flow. Sonia says I want flow. Judy says give me flow. Mina says I want that flow. Yes. The 12-week work year, that was the book that we talked about, and it's not a big book. It's a pretty easy read. I'm actually reading a couple of books right now. I'm reading one by Joe Dispenza called Becoming Supernatural. It's a phenomenal book, and I'm reading another one called The Millionaire Master Plan. Actually finished that one this week by Roger Hamilton. Beautiful book. We're going to get back to our book of the month. We're going to be doing that through Quantum 10X starting next month. But I read so many books. I don't bring them to you guys because I don't want to overwhelm you. Typically I'll read 1 or 2 books a week is what I do. But I'm crazy like that. So if there's any other questions, hey, has this been good? It's been good? Okay, good. It's been good. Hopefully I've motivated you guys, and go back and watch this again if you want to go back and look at the questions to ask yourself in setting the goals. If you have any particular questions around goal setting specifically, hit me up in our workplace and ask me those specific questions. If you're getting stuck, whatever the case might be, but be sure, write your goals down. Don't make them too. You have to make them believable. Okay. There's a whole nother topic on that I won't get into, but they can't be too audacious. They have to be believable, guys. Because I've had you guys tell me, I'm going to do 100 deals this year. I'm going to do 50 deals, and then you don't do anything. Why? Because you're overwhelming the subconscious mind. It's just like going to the gym, talking about I'm about to bench press 300 pounds. Okay. No, we're not going to do that. Put you a couple of plates on there, about 25s, and let's see what you can do. Okay. And I'm not going to add any more plates on it until you show me you can do that. Right. So that's what I got for you guys. I hope this has been helpful. In fact, I know it's been, because I've gotten some great stuff out of it myself. So I love y'all. Hey, I'm going to see you next week. We're not meeting because I just don't want to meet. I'm going to be with family and doing my thing. It's going to be the day after Christmas, and I don't know how many of you guys will commit to joining me. And then the following week, I think we'll go ahead and do it. It'll be I think that'll be appropriate. January 2nd. Okay. Now we're going to be meeting in our Quantum 10X room. So be looking for information from me to show you how to set up your Quantum 10X account and to show you how to log into the Quantum 10X Facebook group. Okay, so we got groups here, we got groups there, we got groups everywhere, right? Not too many. Don't want to overwhelm you. Hey, I love you guys. Have a very Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year if we don't talk before then. I love you. I wish you peace, prosperity. I wish you not only a Happy New Year, but a beautiful 2020. God bless. See you next time. Adios.